Chapter 1, The Arrival. The night was thick with an inky darkness that seemed to swallow everything in its path. Rachel stood at the edge of the forest, clutching her lantern, its feeble glow casting eerie shadows on the ancient trees. She had heard the stories of Ravenswood Manor, whispered in hushed tones by the villagers, but curiosity had a grip on her stronger than fear. The manor had stood abandoned for decades, its decaying structure a blight on the landscape, yet it called to her like a siren song. Rachel's breath came in shallow gasps as she pushed open the rusted iron gate, its screech echoing through the silent night. The path leading to the manor was overgrown with weeds, and the moonlight barely pierced the canopy of gnarled branches overhead. As she approached the front door, she felt an icy wind brush past her, sending a shiver down her spine. With trembling hands, Rachel turned the heavy brass knob and pushed open the door. It groaned in protest, revealing a grand foyer cloaked in shadows. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by her lantern's flickering light. The air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay. She stepped inside, her footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The manor's interior was a testament to faded grandeur, marble floors, sweeping staircases, and opulent chandeliers now tarnished and forgotten. Rachel's heart pounded in her chest as she ventured deeper into the house, each creak of the floorboards sounding like a whispered warning. In the parlor, she found an old portrait hanging above the fireplace. It depicted a stern-looking man with piercing eyes, his expression frozen in an eternal scowl. Beneath the portrait was a nameplate, Lord Nathaniel Ravenswood. Rachel felt a chill as she stared into those eyes, a feeling of being watched that she couldn't shake. Suddenly, a door slammed shut somewhere in the house. Rachel spun around, her lantern's light casting frantic shadows. She called out, but her voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence. Gathering her courage, she made her way toward the source of the noise, her fear mounting with each step. At the end of a long corridor, she found a door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, she revealed a library filled with towering bookshelves and dusty tomes. The air was colder here, and she could see her breath in the dim light. On a table in the center of the room lay an open book, its pages yellowed with age. Curiosity getting the better of her, Rachel approached the book. The writing was in a language she didn't recognize, but as she traced her fingers over the text, she felt a sudden dizziness, as if the room were spinning around her. The lantern flickered and went out, plunging her into darkness. In the pitch-black silence, Rachel heard a soft whisper, barely audible but unmistakable, "Leave this place." Heart pounding, she fumbled for matches in her pocket, relighting the lantern with shaking hands. The library was empty, but the whisper lingered in her mind, a chilling reminder that she was not alone in Ravenswood Manor. Chapter 2, The Haunting. Rachel's sleep was fitful that night, plagued by nightmares of shadowy figures and echoing whispers. She awoke with a start, drenched in sweat, as the first light of dawn seeped through the grime-covered windows. Determined to uncover the manor's secrets, she set out to explore the house in the harsh light of day. The manor seemed less intimidating in the sunlight, though no less eerie. Rachel found rooms filled with decaying furniture, cobweb-covered chandeliers, and walls adorned with portraits of stern-faced ancestors. Each room seemed to tell a story of opulence turned to decay, of lives lived and lost within these walls. In the attic, she discovered a trunk filled with old letters and diaries. One diary, in particular, caught her eye. It belonged to a young woman named Eliza Ravenswood. The entries detailed her life in the manor, her love for a man named Thomas, and her growing fear of her father, Lord Nathaniel. As Rachel read, she felt a deep connection to Eliza, a kindred spirit trapped in the oppressive atmosphere of Ravenswood Manor. The final entry was chilling. "Father has forbidden me from seeing Thomas. He says the manor must remain pure, that our bloodline cannot be tainted by outsiders. I fear what he might do. There is a darkness in him, a madness that consumes him. If anything happens to me, know that it was his doing." Rachel's heart ached for Eliza, and she vowed to uncover the truth of what happened to her. She continued to explore the attic, hoping to find more clues. As she rummaged through old boxes, she found a small, intricately carved wooden box. Inside was a locket with a portrait of Eliza and Thomas, their faces filled with love and hope. Suddenly, the temperature in the attic dropped, and Rachel felt a cold breath on her neck. She spun around, her lantern's light casting long shadows. There was no one there, but she could feel a presence, a cold, malevolent force watching her. The whisper returned, louder this time, "Leave this place." Rachel's resolve wavered, but she refused to be scared off. She descended from the attic, clutching the locket, and made her way to the library. There, she pored over the ancient tomes, hoping to find something that would explain the darkness that haunted Ravenswood Manor. As night fell, the house seemed to come alive with sounds, the creaking of floorboards, the rustle of unseen footsteps, and the low moan of the wind through cracked windows. Rachel lit every candle she could find, hoping to ward off the encroaching darkness. In the library, she found a hidden compartment behind a bookshelf. Inside was a journal, bound in black leather and filled with dense, spidery handwriting. It was Lord Nathaniel's journal, and its contents were disturbing. Lord Nathaniel had delved into dark rituals, seeking power and immortality. He had sacrificed animals, and possibly even people, in his quest for eternal life. The final entries spoke of a ritual to bind his soul to the manor, ensuring that he would live on even after death. Rachel felt a chill run down her spine as she read the final entry. "The ritual is complete. My soul is bound to this place, and I shall live on in Ravenswood Manor. Those who dare to enter will face my wrath. The bloodline must remain pure, and the manor must be protected at all costs." Rachel realized with growing horror that the malevolent presence in the house was Lord Nathaniel himself, his soul trapped in the manor by his own dark magic. She knew she had to find a way to break the spell and free the spirits trapped within the house, including Eliza's. As the night deepened, the whispers grew louder, and Rachel felt the oppressive weight of Lord Nathaniel's presence bearing down on her. She was running out of time. Chapter 3: The Confrontation. The following morning, Rachel awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. She spent hours poring over the diaries and journals, trying to piece together the puzzle of Lord Nathaniel's dark rituals. The key, she realized, lay in the ancient book she had found in the library, the one written in the strange language. Determined to break the spell, Rachel set out to find a way to translate the book. She ventured into the nearby village, seeking out the local historian, Mr. Hawthorne. A man of advanced years and a wealth of knowledge about the area's history, he welcomed her into his cluttered study. As Rachel explained her predicament, Mr. Hawthorne's eyes widened with a mix of curiosity and concern. He had heard the legends of Ravenswood Manor but had never encountered anyone brave enough to investigate them. He agreed to help her, intrigued by the mystery and the potential to uncover long-hidden secrets. For days, they worked together, deciphering the book's cryptic text. It spoke of ancient rites and incantations, of binding spirits and unlocking the gates to the afterlife. The language was complex, but slowly, they began to piece together the ritual that Lord Nathaniel had performed. One evening, as they translated a particularly obscure passage, Rachel felt a chill run down her spine. The book described a way to break the binding spell, but it required a blood sacrifice from a direct descendant of Lord Nathaniel. Rachel realized with a sinking feeling that Eliza's spirit might be the key to freeing the manor from its dark grip. Armed with this knowledge, Rachel returned to Ravenswood Manor, determined to confront Lord Nathaniel's spirit and free the souls trapped within. As she entered the house, the atmosphere was palpably different. The air was colder, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Rachel made her way to the library, where she had first found the ancient book. She arranged candles in a circle and began to chant the incantation they had translated. The air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding, and the temperature plummeted. Rachel's breath came out in white puffs as she continued to chant, her voice echoing through the empty halls. Suddenly, the candles flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. Rachel felt a presence behind her, and she turned to see a shadowy figure emerging from the gloom. It was Lord Nathaniel, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, his expression twisted with rage. "You dare to challenge me?" he hissed, his voice echoing with the weight of centuries. "You will suffer as they all did." Rachel stood her ground, clutching the locket she had found in the attic. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, her voice steady. "I will free this house from your evil." Lord Nathaniel lunged at her, his form shifting and twisting like smoke. Rachel ducked and began to chant the final part of the incantation, her voice rising above the howling wind that filled the room. The locket in her hand grew warm, and she felt a surge of energy coursing through her. The shadowy form of Lord Nathaniel recoiled, his expression one of fury and desperation. As Rachel completed the chant, a blinding light filled the room, and the manor shook with a violent tremor. The shadowy figure screamed and dissolved into the air, leaving behind a lingering sense of malevolence. Rachel collapsed to the floor, exhausted but triumphant. The oppressive atmosphere in the manor began to lift, and she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known since she first entered the house. She had done it. She had broken the spell. Chapter 4: The Unveiling. In the days following the confrontation, Rachel noticed a profound change in Ravenswood Manor. The once oppressive atmosphere was now lighter, the air no longer thick with a sense of dread. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the dust particles that danced in the rays. The house seemed to be awakening from a long, dark slumber. Rachel continued her exploration, drawn to a previously locked room at the end of a narrow hallway. The key, long lost, was now inexplicably on the floor in front of the door, as if beckoning her to enter. With a sense of trepidation, she turned the key and pushed the door open. The room was a nursery, untouched by time. Toys lay scattered on the floor, and a small bed with a lace canopy stood against the wall. Rachel's heart ached as she imagined the children who had once played here, their laughter now only a distant memory. In the corner of the room, she found a small chest filled with more letters and drawings, all signed by Eliza. As she sifted through the memories, Rachel discovered a secret compartment at the bottom of the chest. Inside was a bundle of letters, their edges yellowed with age. These were love letters from Thomas to Eliza, filled with promises of a future they would never have. Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes as she read the heartfelt words, feeling the weight of their unfulfilled dreams. Determined to honor Eliza's memory, Rachel decided to give her a proper burial. She ventured into the overgrown garden, where she found a small, secluded spot beneath an ancient oak tree. With great care, she buried the letters and the locket, creating a small memorial for the love that had been tragically cut short. As she stood by the grave, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and Rachel felt a presence beside her. She turned to see the faint outline of Eliza, her expression serene and filled with gratitude. Rachel smiled through her tears, knowing that she had finally brought peace to the restless spirit. That night, Rachel slept soundly for the first time since arriving at Ravenswood Manor. Her dreams were filled with images of Eliza and Thomas, reunited at last, their spirits free from the darkness that had bound them. She awoke with a sense of purpose, knowing that her journey was not yet complete. Rachel decided to write a book about her experiences, documenting the history of Ravenswood Manor and the tragic love story of Eliza and Thomas. She hoped that by sharing their story, she could bring closure to the village and ensure that the dark history of the manor would never be forgotten. As she wrote, Rachel felt a deep connection to the house and its former inhabitants. The once haunted manor had become a place of healing and reflection, a testament to the power of love and the resilience of the human spirit. She knew that she would always carry a part of Ravenswood Manor with her, wherever her journey might lead. Chapter 5: The Legacy. Years passed, and Ravenswood Manor became a place of legend, its dark history transformed into a story of redemption and love. Rachel's book, The Haunting of Ravenswood Manor, became a bestseller, captivating readers with its blend of horror and heart. The village, once overshadowed by the manor's malevolent presence, thrived as tourists flocked to see the infamous house and learn about its storied past. Rachel herself found peace in the quiet life she had built. She moved into a small cottage on the edge of the village, where she continued to write and research the history of other haunted places. Her experiences at Ravenswood Manor had ignited a passion for uncovering the truth behind ghost stories and helping to lay restless spirits to rest. One crisp autumn morning, Rachel received a letter from a young woman named Emily. She had read Rachel's book and believed that her own home was haunted by a similar dark presence. Rachel felt a familiar thrill of anticipation and agreed to visit Emily's home, eager to apply what she had learned at Ravenswood Manor to help another soul in need. As Rachel arrived at the quaint, old house, she felt a sense of déjà vu. The house was smaller than Ravenswood Manor but had the same air of forgotten grandeur. Emily greeted her at the door, her eyes wide with a mix of hope and fear. Rachel spent the next few days exploring the house, listening to Emily's stories of strange noises and unsettling occurrences. She found herself drawn to the attic, where she discovered a collection of old photographs and letters. The history of the house began to unravel, revealing another tale of love, loss, and unresolved grief. With Emily's help, Rachel conducted a séance, hoping to communicate with the spirits that lingered in the house. The air grew heavy, and the room grew cold as they called out to the spirits. Suddenly, a ghostly figure appeared, a woman with sorrowful eyes who introduced herself as Margaret. Margaret's story was one of heartbreak and betrayal, a life cut short by a jealous lover. Rachel and Emily listened intently, offering their support and understanding. Together, they performed a ritual to help Margaret find peace, guiding her toward the light. As the spirit of Margaret faded away, Rachel felt a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. She had found her calling, helping lost souls find peace and uncovering the stories that had been buried by time. Each haunted house she visited brought new challenges and new opportunities to make a difference. Rachel returned to her cottage, where she continued to write and share her experiences. Her reputation as a paranormal investigator grew, and she became a sought-after expert in the field. Yet, despite her success, she remained humble and dedicated to her mission, always remembering the lessons she had learned at Ravenswood Manor. In the quiet moments, Rachel often thought of Eliza and Thomas, their love a guiding light in her darkest hours. She knew that their story had changed her life, setting her on a path she had never imagined. And as she looked out at the world with renewed purpose, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. The legacy of Ravenswood Manor lived on, not as a place of fear and darkness, but as a symbol of hope and redemption. And Rachel, the woman who had dared to confront its ghosts, became a beacon of light for all those who sought to uncover the truth and find peace in the most haunted of places.